Hello viewers and welcome back to the channel. We are going to change it up a little bit this time, so we are in the touring car class this time, and we're racing at Mid-Ohio. We are going to get right into the action. I'm not going to ramble too much. I will give you more details within the voiceover. So again, I hope you like this video, and if you do like it, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel as there will be more content in the future. Thank you so much, and let's get right to it. Alrighty guys, welcome to Mid-Ohio. This track is actually not far from where I grew up. I'm from Ohio, if you guys are, or if you're listening to and you have to be from Ohio. Go Bucks. But anyways, we're just going to do a quick little walk around of the track here. So this is our best qualifying lap. So we're coming into the right here. We break at about that 100-meter board there on the right. You're ideally supposed to kind of go over that curve there on the left and then utilize the track, get all the way to the right, but we did not do that. But we were getting the feel of this car. So the second pair of cones there, we're braking at that point, and then we're kind of throwing it into the hairpin there, not going too wide. It's just not necessary. It seems to be faster when you just kind of pitch it in. And then this is the long straightaway. So we're going to build up a good amount of speed. We're going to get over to the left here. We're going to brake at the first set of cones here, down into second gear. Going to stick it over to the right, kick it back over to the left, and we want to stay nice and tight as we come over that little hill there. And then we come down to this right-hander, and there's this set of like slight elevation changes and these weird turns, and you got to be cautious. It's all about throttle modulation, like letting off the throttle a little bit and pitching in the car at just the right moments, and you can carry a lot of speed through there. So coming to the back straight, you brake about halfway between like where that little corner is and where the curb ends. And then it's a really slow corner, so you want to keep it to the right because there's a left-hand corner, and that is the lap. Not a super long course, but it is much longer compared to the courses we've been racing on, such as Tsukuba and Winton. Navarro was a pretty long course. So, move to the grid. I don't know what I'm doing. I think I'm just trying to cure my boredom and wanting the race to start. I don't know why people take forever to grid. I mean, maybe you have to use a restroom or something, but yeah. So, anyways, the car I chose to drive, or I chose to buy, was the Civic Type R. I have a sweet spot for Hondas. We'll get into that later. So here we go. Everyone is gridded, and we are about to take off. We qualified in P4 with a 131.4, and here's the green lights. Now, I was not expecting this. So one thing with these cars, they're front-wheel drive, so they're completely different to the vast majority of race cars. So coming into turn one, we're going to have cold tires. We have Robert here that's right in front of us. He gets a little bit of ahead, and he's going to take P4, but we're side by side with him. He's going to have the inside, so he's going to have a little bit of an advantage on us, but hopefully we can come out of this exit with more speed, taking the wider line. Now, the one thing here with these front-wheel drive cars on cold tires, whereas most cars, when the tires are cold, you have to watch out for the oversteer. It's the opposite with these cars. When the tires are cold, it is just crazy understeer. So we're side by side here. We take the inside on Robert. He brakes really early. We brake a lot later, and we're able to get in front of him. We gain P4. And so now we have West, Lynn, and Thor ahead of us. So a podium is without a doubt in our grasp. I didn't think we were going to have a chance to catch up to Scotty. He seemed to be pretty comfortable with the car, and he had like a 1:29 pace. And I didn't have this car figured out yet. I didn't have it a grips on it. So Thor built some space between Lynn And now we are right on the Audi. We're right on Lynn's tail at this point. And we completed our first lap, so the tires should be a little bit warmer. We shouldn't get the massive understeer like we were, but it's still not going to be completely perfect. We realistically need to get another lap in before we can comfortably push the car. So the one thing about front wheel drive, guys, is even when the tires are warm, but you have to think the car, the front tires not only have to deal with the lateral changes in direction when you're turning the wheel, but it also has to deal with the driven wheels, the power going to those wheels as well. So, you know, it's like both latitude and longitudinal forces that are being applied to the two sets of tires. And that's why you just get understeer in these cars when you give it gas. So it's, in a way, it's a little bit more beginner friendly, I would say, but it requires a little bit more patience when you're coming out of corners. You just want to make sure you're not hitting the throttle too early, otherwise you're just going to have to let off the throttle, and then you're going to end up going really slow, especially on a long straightaway. So West goes really wide here. We're going to take the inside, and now we're up into P3. We're in a podium position, so now we got to be able to defend, and maybe we can find just better pace than West. Now he's right on our tail here, and we did not have a very good corner there. You ideally kind of want to run over that curb a little bit on the left, and then really get back on the throttle and get as much speed as you can. So we're breaking the second cone here, and we did a really awful job defending here. I mean, West did have a little bit of an aggressive move, but I didn't want to ruin our race, so I was going to let him take the inside, as I did kind of leave the space there. And we're just going to sit behind him and get into the slipstream. Now, this is going to be a pretty even match between West and I. We were even in pace throughout this race. Give each other respect. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm yawning. And, yeah, just really fun. It's fun when you're side by side with someone throughout the entirety of a race. And we're right there with him, and unfortunately, because we're kind of battling each other and he's going to be watching for us in the mirrors, our lap times are not going to be super fast. As you can see, our best lap time as of now is a 1:30.8. I didn't really look at the leaderboards to see what the fastest lap times were, but later on I would find out, you know, once we get to the second race in this video. There were some people out there doing 1:27s, which is crazy. I don't know how they're extrapolating that lap times, but something I would just have to figure out. And maybe these are guys who love driving these cars and have way more experience than I have. You know, luckily I've raced Mid-Ohio and other sims before, so I'm pretty familiar with the layout. And like I said, it's a, I wouldn't say a hometown because Mid-Ohio was a couple hours away from me, but you know, it was within the state that I grew up in. So I just want to tell a little backstory of why I chose the Civic Type R. I'm a really big Honda guy through and through, especially when it comes to the daily drivers. So my grandpa, my very first car that I got was his car. He was very gracious to give me his car once I got my temps. And I love that car. I drove it till it had 316,000 miles on it, and that thing was just bulletproof, man. A great car, you know, sporty, and had a lot of room. It was comfortable. Really loved the car. But after I got rid of that car, I went and bought another Honda. I bought a 10th gen Honda Accord, and it has a 2-liter motor. Now, if any of you guys are familiar with those cars, the 2-liter motors of the 10th gen Accords, it's essentially the exact same motor as the Civic Type R. It shares like the vast majority of the same components. It's just they dial back the amount of boost that the turbo gives, and the ignition timing is retarded. It's not utilized for 93 octane. So I did the Honda stage tune on my car, and now it's pushing Civic Type R horsepower, but a lot more torque because it's a 10-speed automatic transmission. And it's really practical, and it actually increases the fuel economy as long as I can keep my foot out of the gas. But, man, when you want it to go, it goes. It's a lot of fun. So, anyways, that's my story. I don't know if that really makes sense to you guys, but for me, it does. I'm a big Honda guy, and I just wanted to drive the Civic Type R because it's a fun car. Anyways, as you can see here, there's not a lot of whole side-by-side action going on at this moment with West. And in fact, he's actually pulling away from us a little bit, which is quite unfortunate. I'm trying to see what type of performance I can extrapolate out of this car. And at this point, I'm still trying to learn that corner, and I'm finding out that's a really slow line. And eventually, I figure out to go over that curb there on the left. I'm really sorry that I'm yawning. It's like midnight when I'm doing this voiceover and editing this video, so I do apologize. But West is pulling away from us. He's finding a little bit of pace, and we did make a slight improvement on our best lap time at 130.7, but it's really nothing to brag about. I mean, if you look at Scotty, he's got a 129.2, and I'm sure there's people out there who did like 128s easily. And this car is really, or this track, this part of the track specifically is really tricky because you have like these slight elevation changes where it's like you're going up and you're going down. The suspension is under load, and then it's not under load, and then the car gets light, and you have to be careful with your throttle applications as you're going through those corners and those crests and dips. Really fun. That's probably the best part of the track, to be honest. It just, the flow of it is really nice. Now, we're about halfway into the race, and we're not making too much progress. And we took that corner a little bit better, but we could still pitch it in a little bit earlier and ride that curb without a doubt. You're going to get a way more speed. Now, you see what I mean, guys? You just kind of want to, on this corner, this little hairpin here, turn 2, you just want to, there's like that pavement there, the blacktop, where it's darker, and you want to keep your car kind of within there. That seems to be the fastest line that I'm able to find. I mean, maybe it's not. I'm sure there's people out there with much faster or better lines through that corner, but it seems like letting the car go out too wide would just ultimately slow you down. And sure, you might come out with a little bit more speed, but it's not enough to negate keeping it nice and tidy through there. As you can see, when I'm like getting on the throttle through these corners, when I'm full throttle, the car just understeers like crazy. These cars are all about patience when you're coming out of the corners. You really have to learn the principle of slow in, fast out is what I was finding. Because like I said earlier, you get on that throttle way too soon, and you're going to end up pulling off on that throttle so you don't go off the track, and then resetting yourself. So as you can see there on turn 1, that was a lot better corner. I ended up straddling that curb a little bit at the end, which you don't really want, but you get the idea. Now, as you can see, like I went wide there on that corner, and that was not faster at all. You know, I actually lost time, and Wes gained a little bit of a gap on me. But yeah, these cars are very different compared to other vehicles, but I think they're very beginner friendly. If you're getting into iRacing and you get your D license, I highly recommend giving these a try. So you can race the Audi, Honda, a Hyundai Elantra, and I believe there's one more car. I can't remember, but I'm pretty sure there's 4 options. Don't quote me on that. But yeah, beginner friendly if you're just getting into iRacing and you move up to your D license. You can have a lot of confidence when you push the car. It's pretty forgiving, and it'll teach you just some of the simple basics of racing. And if you're learning certain tracks, these are the perfect cars to just get oriented with the layout of the track. So we made a little bit of progress on West. We are basically within a half a second of him, so we'll have the slipstream here coming into the long straightaway here after turn 2, this hairpin. Now that Audi seems to be like a pretty strong car. I'm not sure if there's really performance differences between these two. I'm sure they're homologated pretty close to where it doesn't really matter. I'm sure the cars have their strengths and weaknesses, but, you know, it's usually about the driver and getting comfortable with the car. So I love that corner there, guys, where it's like that tight left-hand corner, like uphill to a downhill. So after you come in to turn 4, where you're braking at the long straightaway, you turn it in right. You don't want to go too wide to the left coming out of that corner because you got to prepare for that left-hander. But then it's like uphill, and then it comes downhill once you get like through to the apex. And then you got to still keep it to the left, all the way to the left, because then you have a right turn coming up. So it's pretty tricky and a lot of fun. So Wes and I are neck and neck right now, and we almost rear-ended him coming into turn 1 at this point, but now we're trying to find a way to get by him at this point. He seems to be making a lot of little mistakes here and there where we just have faster average pace, and we can make something happen. We only have about 5.5 minutes left in this race, so yeah, there's only so many more laps where we have this opportunity. But we can get it done. I'm confident we can get it done. But yeah, see what I'm saying? Like, I went maybe a little too wide there, but you got to keep it nice and tight there on the left and then not get too wide because you got to prepare yourself for this right-hander. Then it's coming to the left. You want to come over this curb, but then it goes downhill. Then your suspension gets a little bit under load. And this one's tricky because, like, you get on the throttle, but then there's, again, another little hill, and then the wheels spin, and then come back down, and then you get traction. It's just a weird set of corners. Nice and tight here, so we can prepare for the left-hander exit here, and boom, one more lap down. Basically 3 more laps left in this race, and we're looking for the opportunity. We still got to keep up with the pace. Now that was a really good corner there. That was not perfect, but pretty darn good. That's what we like to see there. As you can see, West brakes really early, or he holds the brakes a lot longer than I anticipated, so we were forced to take a little bit wider line. I get in the dirt there. It doesn't slow us down too much, but it is going to have a little bit of an effect. And now we're going to just try to get in the slipstream, and he built himself about a half a second gap now, so we're going to have to find a way to catch up with that. West goes a little bit too wide, not ideal for himself, and now we're going to be right there within a quarter of a second. We're on his tail. Well, we went a little too much on the curb there, but now we're side by side with him coming into these corners. We got to take the wide line here, which should play to our advantage. And we get in a little bit more speed than him, but we're still side by side, and we're going to be on the inside on this corner, which is going to be tough. he's going to have the advantage coming into the last couple corners, but he oddly backs out. I'm not sure why he backed out, but he lets us through, and now we're into P3. We are in P3, and now all we have to do is hold it together for 2 more laps. And then we got a podium.
Keep hustling.
Now, I don't know what happened with West. His pace just all of a sudden fell off the face of the earth. But anyways, we're going to move forward here, and this is the final lap. Our gap to West has grown to where it's 2 seconds now. So we got a really comfortable lead. We're not going to catch up to Thor or Scotty. It's not happening. They have much faster pace than we do. So, just racing our race. And luckily, this race, we had absolutely no incident points whatsoever. The strength of field was really low, though. Thor's having an almost 3K iRating was without a doubt driving up the average strength of field number up. But if he wasn't in the picture, I mean, this would be a, gosh. I mean, this would be like a 1K strength of field race. But this is not a very popular series, it seems like, to race in. I know everyone wants to race, you know, the GT3s or the Porsche Cup or the hypercars, the LMPs. You know, some people are into NASCAR or IndyCar, Formula. But you don't get a lot of people that are really into the touring cars. So as you can see, we made it across the finish line, and we had got P3. So I was definitely going to expect a giant safety rating bump. Yeah, almost 60 basis points, which is pretty solid, and we gained a little bit of iRating. Never complain about that, so woohoo. Yeah, we love to see that. And I'm not sure why it took another race, because the bar, like the progress bar to show when you're getting your license, it said it was full and that I should be attaining my C license. I don't know why it didn't happen. It happens after this race. Now, this is a much, much more competitive field. As you can see, we have 5K, or almost 6K, 3.7, 2.1, 2.1, 1.5, and we have 12 drivers on the grid, so much more interesting. So we qualified in P7, and we lost a couple positions. We got a little bit better start, because last time when we did that, we were spinning our tires. So as you can see here, we already have 2 people going off the track, and we are automatically going to gain 2 positions. So back into P7, and now we're in the slipstream here. So once again, we have to be cognizant of the cold tires. We're going to have pretty severe understeer at this point. So nothing stupid, just follow your line and be well behaved. That's all you got to do. Now, this time around, I was hoping that I could make improvements on my lap times and get it under 130. I wanted to get in the 129s. That was my goal. But ultimately, this was a much more competitive race, which I love. Makes things more interesting. It makes things more lively. And you can always learn from these drivers, as I've said in the past. What are they doing that you are not doing? So, person goes into the pit lane, and he must have had some damage or gotten caught up in that accident for whatever reason. So, we move up another position, which is great. So, I'm thinking, gosh, you know, top 5 is, you know, within our grasp. It could be a potential. Now, we have to be aware of Crispy behind us here. He's right on our tail. He's a 2.1K iRacing driver. Now, pay attention in that rear view mirror, guys, up at the top, all right? We're coming to this long straightaway into a pretty tight corner, and just watch. Crispy, I don't know what happened. He must have just completely lost focus, but almost rams us. Luckily, we were both paying attention, and we thought we're in the clear at this point, but apparently not. I don't know what Crispy was thinking. I don't know what he was doing, but we got caught up in that mess, and he decided to ram the other driver. So, yeah, we have pretty decent front bumper damage. That's going to drastically impact our lap times going into the rest of the race. But luckily at the moment we're in P5, but it's going to be quite a challenge to hold off the other drivers for a whole whopping 16 plus minutes. I mean, call it, 18 minutes, because usually by the time the timer runs out, you're doing a whole nother lap. So we move ahead here, and Kirill is right there.
Clear on the right.
I went wide. I wasn't really paying attention. He had that inside line. I think that was my bad, if I'm being honest. I should have seen him in my mirrors there, because I went way too wide, and I should have expected it. Silly move of me to try to pitch it in like he wasn't going to try and take that line. Yeah, I don't know. Not saying, I'm sure he was a little bit at fault, but also I think ultimately that was my responsibility there. I kind of cut him off. So yeah, this race wasn't going well. After that, we bumped back 3 positions, and now we're in P8, and we are really far from everybody else. As far as the competitive nature of this race, it's basically ruined, so we move ahead. This is towards the end of the race where we're going into the last lap. Now, our only hope for moving up another position is getting into P7, and that's Shengji. I hope I'm saying your name right. Shengji is really off his pace, and I think he has some potential damage maybe. That's the only thing I can think of. Or maybe he just got lucky where he was able to get the position he got because other people were messing up and making mistakes, including me. So we're getting pretty tighty lines now. And as you can see, our best lap is only a 130.9, and that's basically due to the damage that we had accrued both in the rear from getting spun out and the front bumper from Crispy. So, I'm sorry, this is not the final lap. There is one more lap after this. But as you can see, we are definitely making progress on Shinji. And he's within our grasp. I can feel it. He does not have the pace. He is really slow. He's way too comfortable, or maybe I should say uncomfortable, on pushing the car. And we're going to be able to make it happen. We're going to be able to make it happen. So we're breaking down the 200-meter board there, coming over the curbs, keeping over to the right, braking a little bit after that curb where it ends. Keep it to the right, nice and tidy, back on the throttle, and use the full width of the track. And here we go. This is the last lap. So he has a really bad entry, and he almost lost it there, oddly, because he straddled that curb, and I kind of did the same thing. Not ideal, but it was almost really bad for him. So we're right on his tail here. He is way off his pace, and as I said, I'm pretty sure he has damage because he's pretty slow in the straights. So we're in the slipstream. We take the inside. He tries to block and goes that way, so we go to the left. But he was trying to push us off the track, which was pretty dirty. So we're going into here side by side. We are right next to each other.
Still there.
Brother, I don't know what...
You've got
He was trying to turn in like I wasn't even there. So he spun himself out, but now I'm worried because as you can see our alignment is messed up and we got some pretty severe wheel damage. So I just need to bring it home, and I'm hoping he doesn't wreck me and get mad about that, even though I was not at fault at all. So we built a little bit of a gap, but the freaking steering is awful, just not pitching it in like it normally has. So I'm just going to defend the inside here and hope to God that I can keep my P7 at least. And luckily we did. And we finished in P7 despite all those awful races.
There's the flag. It's over.
And, you know, what a D-bag move
Really well.
for him to do there by sideswiping me. But as you can see, C license is obtained. Now we are going to move on to bigger and more fun series, without a doubt. Very excited for this. I've been waiting for this moment for quite some time. So there you have it, folks. We finally got our C license, and now we're going to be able to move on to more exciting series and exciting races that we can get involved in. The one that I'm most excited about is Porsche Cup. That is going to be the next video without a doubt, so be on the lookout for that one. I'm really excited for that. I've heard it is mayhem racing in those series. A lot of people that have a lot of egos, and also not to mention it's just a really challenging car to drive. So I really look forward to it. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the video again, and once again, if you do like it, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much, and have a great rest of your day. Take care. Bye-bye.